Now let's go back to the top and let's go into Genesis 6:14. Make for yourself an Ark of Gopher wood.
It's taking me a second, sorry. I'm just pondering what was shared.
And I gotta find...
Make for yourself an ark of wood gopher.
Gopher.
Yep.
So now I want you to go into... so now you're making.
Yep.
And you can already see ark in there. And,
yep.
Okay.
Tabat, yep.
Tabat. And go into 16:13, please.
Gopher, yep. Camel, Pey Resh.
Camel, Pey Resh. So now we have, and I don't think we've talked much about the Gimel before, but the Gimel means that you've rendered clear, you've gathered in. I don't know if you have a definition, you go to Gimel.
Well, generally, the way that it's in Paleo Hebrew, it means the gathering to the water. It's like walking towards the water, and it means gathering and assemblage. It also is the spelling, Gimel, of the word camel. And it makes sense, because the camel stores water in its hump.
It does.
And it lifts up.
Yeah.
And only in the time when people had camels, if you had camels, you were very rich.
Yeah, it was a form of currency for sure.
I mean, the transportation, if you had a camel, that meant you had money. You know,
right.
the simple peasants didn't have camels.
I'm also going to show you one in what I've gathered in my stuff, that if I go down to the Gimel, that in 1580.
Yep.
So to deal fully.
Yep.
And to
wean
wean and to ripen. So
yeah.
You've been weaned off of the lesser. You've ripened. This is talking about fruit language here.
Absolutely.
The Camel has gathered. They dealt fully with the lesser nature. They've matured properly, and they've become ambassadors, right?
They've They've gathered the mem lamed, the sweet.
Right.
Because that is short for mellifluous, which is honey.
To be
mel.
full. Right. These are full ones now. They're Camel. So the Camel and the two humps, right? So we're even in the picture, either one or two, depending on
the type of camel.
Right.
But it would make sense, the two humps, the two hills of mother and father, the two mountains.
Right.
That lift you up as you are seated in between both humps.
May as well go here too. Go to, so what was that? That's 1580.
Yep.
And so just so people can see, go to 1581, just so they can see that it's the same spelling and it's Camel.
Mm-hmm.
So they can see that.
Yep.
In the sense of labor, burden bearing, right? And this is exactly what it is. You're gathering to wean. It's the walking a great distance in an arid place.
But this is burden bearing. This is also why we have the alienation.
Right.
Because once you gather this information and the rest don't have it, you feel alienated because nobody else is seeing the way you're seeing.
Right.
It's a burden to bear.
Can you go to 1583 for me quick, please?
Oh, yeah.
So
Gamaliel.
there's Paul's teacher.
Yep.
And this is the exact same spelling as he's dealt fully with, and now he represents as the vision. He's the work. His hand is as of El.
The work and deed of those that are of El.
Of El.
The strong leader, teachers that have authority.
Yep. So
of the light. They have authority of the light.
So I just wanted to show you that before we go into...
Yeah.
The Gimel is a big deal, and it carries its own frequency. But again, this is all shorthand.
Yep.
And now we just are extrapolating out. And even in those words, it's still saying more. We're not going to go there, but shorthand, and then goes to longhand, and then goes to width and breadth and height and depth hand.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, but we can't go there right now. It's a whole nother teaching. But so where we can go to is we can go back to 1613. And we can just look at the word. So this is now one who's weaned and dealt with, and it's a kind of tree, and so it's a process. And then we have Pey Resh, and the Pey Resh is a big deal because it's still mouth and head. Which
connects everything that we were saying the other day with Afer, Para.
You've healed the head wound.
Right, Rapha.
And you are no longer immature as a 666, like we just said earlier on. You turn to nature 999. Becoming as El, and you're speaking as the risen head, as Rosh. So this could actually be even say Gopher Rosh, right? Because the Rosh it's just Resh, but it's still a Rosh on the end.
Right, because of the constituent letters that make up the symbol.
Right. Okay.
Just like the Pey is a Pey Hey.
So there's only one occurrence for this word.
Yep, right here.
And it's in go make yourself gopher wood. That's it. Only
Yep.
one occurrence.
Yep.
And I think it's interesting that the one occurrence is in 6:14. Right? Genesis 6:14. We're going to go there in a second. But I wanted to go to so I'm looking at one occurrence, and this is how it speaks to me sometimes. Go one occurrence at 6:14, so it'd be 1614. So go to 1614.
Oh, so the next word over.
The next word over.
Gopherith. Look at that.
Brimstone.
Holy moly.
And where's it from?
Gopher.
From 1613. So the gopher wood is the brimstone. And it's connected now.
Well, and it's Yod Tov.
It's a Yod Tov.
So, Bereshit.
And what is it talking?
Bet, Rosh, Yod Tov.
And what, look,
right?
Look, yes. It's a Yod Tov now. Now we have a finalization, and this is an encounter that happened in Sodom and Gomorrah, the brimstone, right? But if you look down here a little further, you're seeing that properly. Look at what it says down there. It's Cypress resin.
Yep.
So we're talking gopher wood and cypress. We're talking about the Ashurah tree and the cypress tree. And that is in Ezekiel 27.
Well, and that's interesting because it's the resin, right? And Laban is frankincense, which is the resin. Frankincense is a resin.
Mm-hmm.
Laban.
Yes.
Means the same thing.
Same thing.
Laban, white, frankincense.
Yep. All right, we're going to go to...
My goodness.
Yeah, oh my goodness.
Well, this, again, oh my gosh. Look at that. In Isaiah 34:9, it's this same word and it has a lamed in front of it. So the cypress resin, Yod Tov, with an added lamed in front of it. So there's a frequency and a measurement here.
There's a frequency and a measure to it.
I mean, that's what it always is. And so when we look at that, I'm just connecting it to, because we've taught so much and we spent a whole bunch of time at Bereshit. At the beginning, that first word has a Yod Tov on the end of it. So now we have gopher, Yod Tov.
Right.
The suffix. The power of having the mark, sine wave frequency change, connecting to one love.
Right. This is a big deal right here, what's going on. So this is, because again, we're listening at a story and we're looking at, fire and brimstone, but we're not really connecting it. And now I can just connect it to the gopher wood that makes the ark is the same word for brimstone.
Yep.
And
and then it's that consuming fire that renders us clear.
And did you remember?
Wow.
Right. It's rendered clear, completely resin. And you remember a couple of days ago when I was sharing with, we can probably go there actually. This was a big deal. Go to Strong's 8391 again.
The box tree.
The box tree.
Oh yeah, because this was Asher.
But so this
Te
is the
Ashurah.
Asher tree. But look at the first occurrence. There's two occurrences. Look at Isaiah 41:19.
I got it. The box tree and the cypress.
The box tree and the cypress. And then.
And and look at that. It's a cod.
It's one.
It's a cod to become one and unified.
Right. And then when you look at cypress tree.
Pey Resh.
It's Pey Resh. So this is what I was talking about the other day. This is 1265. If you want to go to 1265, you can go to 1265.
Yep, Pey Resh. Yep.
The cypress and the fir tree.
Yep.
Now go to 1266.
Yep.
Now it's the Vav Tav. But it's still the cypress and the fir tree. Exact same thing. But it's gone through the fire, the sheen. And really when you look at the sheen is really the ephod. We're going to break that down probably another time. But
well, and before you go there, just on the right-hand side in Song of Solomon, it's the twin covenants that have the power given. It's Tav Yod Mem. Tom, but it's Team. It has the Yod now.
Right. Let's go to
the vision of the twin covenants.
Let's go to Song of Solomon's 117.
Yep. I'm there.
So look at the beams. These are the beams. So now you've built the house from the floor up. Now the roof is going on as the beams. And now we have Kuf Resh Vav Tav, but it's from just Kuf Resh Hey. The revelation to a point.
Well, I should probably go there.
7136.
To a point.
Kara.
To light upon. To bring about. For roof or floor. Well, this goes back to the head and the feet.
Head and the feet. Yes, thank you. So yes, so I don't need to bring it up. So
no,
yes. So
the
now,
head and the feet.
And what was that based off? That was based on the principalities and the powers.
Exactly, and we were talking about the regol, and the footstool, and the roshim.
And the footstool
and the rashit.
Was actually breaks down to Hadassah, because Hadassah breaks down to
it's myrtle.
Myrtle wood, right. So this is all wood.
The frequencies of these woods.
Right. All the frequencies.
Woods?
Wood.
I guess wood is plural already.
So we can see that without making this too big a lesson, we can go back out and we can see that going down that verse of Song of Solomon, you can see Batanu. Now we have the Bet Tov again, because we still have to go into what happened in the garden. We haven't got there yet. I'm still building. The intention is to build the ark. And why aren't we building the ark? Because the Bet Tov was stolen, or misplaced, or misdirected,
or mishandled.
And I got to show you why that is. And so that'll probably be another teaching maybe tomorrow. But so now we have this is our house, the Bet Tov Yod Nun Vav, which is the spelling of that is just Bet Tov.
Right, which is the letter Bet.
Right. Which is the letter Bet.
And now you have the Yod, which is the power through the spiritual path where you connect to Father, Source.
And the Bet Tov is the numerical value of 22.
Bet being the second letter, Tov being the 22nd letter.
So you're built love.
So
right?
The 222 is Bet Tov.
And the whole process.
Build the covenant of love.
And that's the whole premises of Song of Solomon.
Yep.
I am the song of love.
Exactly. The song of all songs.
The song of all songs.
Shir HaShurim.
Is the frequency of love.
Yep.
And we're building love one beautiful expression at a time.
Oh my gosh. Shir HaShurim. Shir Ashurim. It's the fire of love. Oh my gosh, the consuming fire of love. Shir HaShurim. It's the Song of Solomon.
You become the Ashurim.
It's the fiery love that goes through the fiery law, the law of one love.
Yeah.
You got to be kidding me.
No.
I mean, I know you're not. I'm just .connect. We have a winner. Ding, 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 ding.
You get to pick something from the top shelf.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
Oh.
Very cool. So, because again, we've been spooktified by the Asherah pole and what it is, and it's really just a tree that's been stripped of all the branches, and now the branches have to be grafted back in.
Well, they've just made sure that we don't look in that direction, right?
But
they've said it's evil. It's doctrines of demons. Josiah got rid of it, but really, it was there in the time of David, and it was there in the first temple.
Right. But I have no.
As a measure of becoming. That's all it was. It was a measure of becoming.
Right. So now we can go...
Becoming the song of fire.
Yep. So now...
Of the one love.
So now we can go down, just keep on walking this down.
Yeah.
730. And we're looking at that.
Mm-hmm.
Olive fresh.
Zayin Yod Mem.
Mm-hmm. And it's breaks down to a cedar tree. Right? But it's also from the tenacity of its roots. It's kind of what it says. So this is...
What's interesting, it talks about cedar wood in purifications.
Right. So, but again, looking at the tree from an outside, from the lesser narrative, when we take it to the greater narrative, why? This is this tree has a lot of tenacity to be what it needs to be. And we used to say that...
So basically it's saying you have a strong tenacity in your base, in
Right.
that which supports and holds you.
What did we share?
Strong foundation.
Yeah, and that is, again, the foundation goes back to Ashurah.
Right.
I brought that up. It's that, can't go to the Strongs right now because it's out of my file, but it is, it was Yashurim, Yasha, right? And so it's the same root for the Ashurim. It's right, that's the foundation that we're building. And I remember sharing with people that we used to say, look at, when we're talking, like, look at the tree. What does the tree know?
How to be a tree.
That's all it knows. Its whole DNA is singing and saying, I am a tree. Therefore, I will become a tree.
Right.
That's all. But we partner with other frequencies that then come in and then mucky the waters and say, you're this and you're that, and let me direct you over here with a smell and a sight, and let me have you encounter this and partake of that. But if we truly knew what we knew from the foundation and the intention of the 2222, or the drips and the drops of distillation to produce the measure of intention to become mountain 2022, that of love 222, then we would become a tree.
And simply that can be rendered down as I am.
I am. I am that I am, because the resonance in me sings of one song, and I follow that path.
To becoming.
To becoming.
Which is Hayah.
Right. So it's the completed being of intention.
Yeah.
So when we take this down a little further, it goes to 729 on the cedar tree, and it means to be firm again. And we just talked about that to be firm directly connects to the tree, because the root of tree 6095 means to be firm. So now this is tree, etz, ayin zadi, or ayin zadi.
Ah.
The knowing is the desire, that is to be firm. But now this word is saying it, this is now a tree, cedar tree, that is exactly that, but now it's spelled with Aleph Resh Zadi.
Zayin.
Sorry, I always flip. Zayin.
So now it's one head.
One head. Desire, one. Desire, one head. And it's the strong love. You actually, in the olive is twin visions, but it sovereignly stands as one sovereign head, right?
Which is the sword and the plow. So you get to that place where you're cutting off things that no longer serve you.
This is
right?
the desire. And in this, it still is pluralized through the Yod Mem, but really you can even extrapolate out to say, this is the work indeed. This is the power, means, and directions of what was sealed. You've entered that sealed place as one.
So in other words, you're now above the waters of chaos.
You are now above the waters of chaos.
And Im is Yam, which means sea,
right.
which is directly connected to Ashurah,
right?
The goddess of the sea.
Yep.
Ashurah.
So let's go.
And then that first occurrence has a bet in front of it.
Yep.
It's building through the Bet Tav.
So if we're building the Ark,
the 222.
and if we're building the Ark, we need boards, we need planks, we need to build this thing. So let's go down to 7351.
Is this in the same verse?
Same verse, strong in Song of Solomon.
Okay, just
117.
Yep, I see it now.
So now we're going down
the rafters.
to our rafters, but when you go into it,
rafters and boards.
Rafters and boards. One occurrence of this, and it's in this verse. So now we have the Resh, He, Yod, Tet, Nun, Vav. And the Nun, Vav is added. This is now risen through the activity of life. You've risen into sovereign meekness through this process.
Connecting to Father and Source.
Right.
And that Nun shows that it was done through the spiritual path.
Yep.
And Nun is the activity of life, the seed of life, that then gives you a strong base. Because that's really what it is. The root, the stalk grows up so that you have a strong base. I liken it to a sunflower that supports the head, right?
Right.
It's a really thick stalk in order to support the weight of the head. So really, you could say that the sunflower is the Tav.
Sure.
Right? The Vav is the stalk. The head is bent from the weight of the seed because of the fruit. And when you put those two together, the Rosh and the Vav, it literally creates the shape of the Tav, which you've said in other languages, or in other teachings. Supporting the weight of the head.
So now let's just keep on going. So absolutely, supports the weight of the head, and that's what lifts it. Sovereignty lifts your head, and that's what you're resting your head upon, is sovereignty, and that's what allows you to be built over in humility, but established in the full power of meekness.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so
through the spiritual path, because you're never going to find this by seeking materialism.
No.
That's actually not sustainable.
So now we have the rafters in the roof, and then let's look at the last word in this verse, 1266. The fir tree.
Oh, look at that. Bar. We've been talking about bar. It all connects to Bereshit.
So this is
bar, Vav Tav.
Right. There no longer needs to have, in the beginning, be built in the consuming fire. This one is built through the consuming fire, and it doesn't need, and this is rooted in 1266, which is exactly the same as the cypress tree with the resh added. So this
right,
one now,
because I just saw that it was cypress. And you want to know what's interesting about juniper? Do you know what juniper essential oil, one of the uses for? For spots and blemishes.
very cool.
In order to render clear.
So right there you have a completed built one.
An Aramaic form of barosh.
Right. Barosh.
That's why. So the consuming fire, everything that needed to be consumed, is now been consumed. That's why you have Vav Tav.
Yes. You've
rendered everything clear. The fire has consumed everything that is not, so that what remains is.
Right. You've healed the head wound. You're no longer
You've
forgetting.
built it.
We talked about that before with Ephraim and Manasseh, about mnemonic and demonic, what it is. Forgetting and remembering through the association of words, the 2222 is how you mnemonic and how you remember. It's how you break free of the demonic oppression by remembering. We can associate it. We've gone back to the garden. We've gone back to Genesis 1:1. And now...
Do you know what's interesting about the 2020 I just caught? Odd out the zeros, and what are you left with?
22.
So 2020 was the year that the language was going to be released.
Yeah.
And that's when we opened our channel. In the 5th month, which is the hay.
Right.
The 5th letter is the revelation. And we did it on 25th. We did it on the day of first fruits, the feast of first fruits. And 5 and 2 is 7, divine perfection.
Right.
In the year of 2020, 2-2.
Yeah.
And that was very intentional. We released it on that day for a reason.